fellow nerds. Today's topic is a very common fantasy and mythological creature. I am sure many of you have encountered the Harpy before, be it in video games such as The Elder Scrolls Online or The Witcher. Or maybe you have read stories and myths about this weird humanoid creature. But today we are focusing on the Dungeons and Dragons version of the Harpy. So without further ado, let's have a look at this particular monster. Taking glee in suffering and death, the sadistic Harpy is always on the hunt for prey. Its sweet song has lured countless adventurers to their deaths, drawing them in close for the Harpy to kill and then consume. A Harpy combines the body, legs and wings of a vulture with the torso, arms and head of a human. Its wicked talons and bone club make it a formidable threat in combat, and its eyes reflect the absolute evil of its soul. Divine Curse. Long ago, an elf wandering a forest heard birdsong so pure and wholesome that she was moved to tears. Following the music, she came upon a clearing where stood a handsome elf youth who had also paused to hear the bird song. This was Fenmarel Mestarin, a reclusive elf god. His divine presence stole her heart as he fled, vanishing into the woods as if he was never there. Though the elf searched the woods and called for her stranger, she found no sign of his passage. Driven to despair by her longing, she begged the gods to help her. Erdri Fenja, elf goddess of the sky, heard the elf's cries and was moved to her aid. She appeared as the bird whose song had entranced the outcast god, then taught that song of beauty and seduction to the elf. When her singing failed to draw Fenmarel Mestarin to her side, the elf cursed the gods, invoking a dreadful power and transforming her into the first Harpy. The curse worked its magic on the elf's spirit as well as her body, turning her desire for love into a hunger for flesh, even as her beautiful song continued to draw creatures to her deadly embrace. Really, again with a slightly misogynistic tainting. Women want something and then turn evil because they are cursed. I'm getting tired of this. Moving on. Harpy song. To hear a harpy song is to hear music more beautiful than anything else in the world. A traveler that succumbs to the entrancing effect of that singing is compelled to blunder towards its source. A harpy sometimes charms victims before it attacks, but a more effective use of its song is to lure prey over cliffs, into bogs and quicksand, or into deadly pits. Creatures trapped or incapacitated then become easy target for the harpy's wrath. Sadistic cowards. Harpies haunt bleak coastal cliffs and other places hazardous to non-flying creatures. Harpies have no interest in a fair fight, and they never attack unless they have a clear advantage. If a fight turns against the Harpy, It lacks the cunning to adapt and will flee and go hungry rather than risk straight-up combat. When they attack, harpies play with their food, delighting in the music their victims make as they scream. A harpy takes its time dismembering a helpless foe and can spend days torturing a victim before the merciful end. Gruesome collectors. Harpies take shiny baubles, valuable objects, and other trophies from their victims, sometimes fighting with each other over the right to claim the choicest prizes. When no valuable objects can be found, a harpy takes hair, bones, or body parts to line its nest. A harpy's lair is usually hidden in remote ruins where adventurers can discover valuable treasure and magic hidden beneath foul piles of offal. Fun fact: before I ran Curse of Strahd for my group, we did a mini introductory campaign to figure out if we like Dungeons and Dragons, or rather for my friends to figure out if they like Dungeons and Dragons. And I had them search a ruin for something. I think they were supposed to rescue somebody, and there was a courtyard. There were two courtyards. One had a poisonous spider, you know, the classic fantasy giant spider with webs everywhere and stuff. And the other courtyard had a harpy's nest atop the adjacent tower. And I had all my players make a stealth check, if I remember correctly, with a quite high DC. And mind you, these were all, I think, second level characters. And even the paladin clunkered along the courtyard, succeeded on the stealth check, and I couldn't attack my players with my bunch of harpies. I mean, they could see the harpies sitting at the edge of the tower looking into the distance, and they just crept away without the harpy noticing them. I was so proud of them, but I was so disappointed. That would have been fun. Anyway, let's have a look at the stat block. A harpy is a medium monstrosity. Okay, I would have guessed humanoid after the description. Medium monstrosity with a chaotic evil alignment. Its armor class is an 11 and it has 38 or 7d8 plus 7 hit points. It has a walking speed of 20 feet and a flying speed of 40 feet. It has 12 points in strength with a modifier of +1, 13 points in dexterity with a modifier of +1, 12 points in constitution, also with a modifier of +1, 7 points in intelligence, that's a modifier of -2, 10 points in wisdom with a modifier of 0, and 13 points in charisma with a modifier of +1. It has a passive perception of 10 and it understands common. It has a challenge rating of 1 and you would gain 200 experience points from this encounter. Coming to think of it, do I award my players the full XP if they avoid an encounter? I've never thought about this because I use milestones for leveling up. But there has to be some reward for being smart and avoiding stuff in a clever, thoughtful way. So maybe if they had fought the Harpies, they would have gotten 200 XP each. But creeping through the courtyard without being noticed maybe is worth 100 XP or 50? I don't know. I have to think about this. Not that I'm going to change my leveling up system. Milestones are way easier to handle. Okay. Sorry for the second tangent. Actions. Multi-attack. The Harpy makes 2 attacks, one with its claws and one with its club. Claws. Melee weapon attack, +3 to hit, with a reach of 5 feet, one target only. On a hit, it deals 6 or 2d4 +1 slashing damage. Club. Also a melee weapon attack with +3 to hit, with a reach of 5 feet, one target only. On a hit, it deals 3 or 1d4 +1 bludgeoning damage. Luring song. The Harpy sings a magical melody. Every humanoid and giant within 300 feet of the Harpy that can hear the song must succeed on a DC 11 wisdom saving throw or be charmed until the song ends. The Harpy must take a bonus action on its subsequent turns to continue singing. It can stop singing at any time. The song ends if the Harpy is incapacitated. While charmed by the Harpy, a target is incapacitated and ignores the songs of other Harpies. If the charmed target is more than 5 feet away from the Harpy, the target can take the dash action on its turn to move towards the Harpy by the most direct route. It doesn't avoid opportunity attacks, but before moving into damaging terrain such as lava or a pit, and whenever it takes damage from a source other than the Harpy, a target can repeat the saving throw. A creature can also repeat the saving throw at the end of each of its turns. If a creature's saving throw is successful, the effect ends on it. A target that successfully saves is immune to this Harpy song for the next 24 hours. Now the important part here is this Harpy's song, not the songs of the other Harpies around. They might only have a challenge rating of 1, but 5 of them could be quite an obstacle for a low-level party. Okay, let's look at the next page. Ooh, a Hellhound. Nice. Monstrous, fire-breathing fiends that take the form of powerful dogs. Hellhounds are found on the battlefields of Acheron and throughout the lower planes. On the material plane, hellhounds are most commonly seen in service to devils, fire giants, and other evil creatures that use them as guard animals and companions. Burning hunger. Hellhounds hunt in packs, feeding on any creature that appears edible. They avoid potentially dangerous foes in favor of targeting the weakest prey with their savage bite and fiery breath, demonstrating a relentless determination as they pursue that prey to the bitter end. When hellhounds feed, the flesh they consume stokes the infernal fires that burn within them. When a hellhound dies, that fire consumes the creature's remains in a billowing eruption of smoke and blazing embers, leaving nothing behind but scorched tufts of black fur. Evil to the core. Hellhounds are smarter than mundane beasts, and their lawful nature makes them good at following orders. However, a hellhound's evil disposition means that the creature can't be trained to be anything other than a ruthless killer. If a hellhound isn't allowed to indulge its malevolent hunger, it quickly abandons or turns against its master. And here it is again, the absolute evil. You know, monsters and villains work without the extremes. But that's a topic for another time. Let's have a look at the stat block. A hellhound is a medium fiend with unlawful evil alignment. Its armor class is a 15. Natural armor. It has 45 or 7d8 plus 14 hit points and a speed of 50 feet. That's fast. It has 17 points in strength with a modifier of plus 3, 12 points in dexterity with a modifier of plus 1, 14 points in constitution with a modifier of plus 2, 6 points in intelligence with a modifier of minus 2, 13 points in wisdom with a modifier of plus 1, and 6 points in charisma with a modifier of minus 2. It has plus 5 on perception, and it's immune to fire damage. That's self-explanatory. It has 60 feet dark vision and a passive perception of 15. It understands Infernal but can't speak it. It has a challenge rating of 3, which equals 700 XP. Keen hearing and smell. The hound has advantage on wisdom perception checks that rely on hearing or smell. Pack tactics. The hound has advantage on an attack roll against the creature if at least one of the hound's allies is within 5 feet of the creature and the ally isn't incapacitated. Actions. Bite. Melee weapon attack, plus 5 to hit with a reach of 5 feet, one target only. On a hit, it deals 7 or 1d8 plus 3 piercing damage, plus 7 or 2d6 fire damage. Fire breath. Recharge 5 to 6. The hound exhales fire in a 15-foot cone. Each creature in that area must make a DC 12 dexterity saving throw, taking 21 or 66 fire damage on a failed save, or half as much damage on a successful one. Now, I do like the idea of a hellhound. You know what? I'm going to exchange one of the many, many wolves in the Curse of Strahd setting and just put Hellhounds in there. Maybe I leave the wolves in the wilderness and in the forests, and the Hellhounds guard Ravenloft Castle. That sounds like a good idea. Maybe I'll pimp their stats a little, because when my players get to Castle Ravenloft, eventually, one day, if they get there and don't die of stupidity, then they should be challenged, right? So far they've been handling the wolves quite well. The barbarian has developed a tactic where he just tackles a wolf and coddles it. And then the ranger casts animal friendship on the wolf being coddled by the barbarian. And that combo usually works. I'm telling you, they're going to have a zoo by the end of the campaign following them around. I have to come up with something regarding that. Okay. Let's wrap it up before this turns into a rambling video. Thank you very much for spending your time with me. I hope you don't mind me getting distracted by my own thoughts instead of just plainly reading from the monster manual. I'm looking very much forward to the next occasion. Until then, have a great day or a good night. See you again soon, my friends. Bye bye, fellow nerds.